Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, February 21st. Almost to the end of the month, guys. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we'd talk about time wasters in the shop. If you want to stay profitable, you need to be working on stuff that will make you money. But I'm going to try listing a few of the things that I see that end up being where we waste time that we could be making money. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. If you didn't already know it, and yes, this is the weekend. The weekday is business, and even today's going to be business minded. We're going to talk about things that I see that go on in the shop that from past history that have been time wasters, that we're not getting paid to get this stuff done. And the biggest thing that I see is jumping from equipment to equipment to equipment, okay? Here in the shop, when it's the lawnmower season, Claude and I can have like 8 or 9 riders in the shop, undercover, with the doors shut. And the way we have been approaching it is we start with one, and then we go as far as we can go. And then if it needs parts ordered for it, then we stop on that one and jump to the next one, okay? And then when the parts come in for the first one, we jump back and put the parts on it. What I've seen here at our shop is a lot of times Claude will start working on this tractor, and then I'll go out and he's working on the other tractor, and then I'll go out and he's working on the other tractor, and he forgets what he did to the first tractor. It's like he starts doing things all over again, his checks. And I'm like, why are you jumping from one to the next to the next? The way I want you to do it and the way I want to do it, because I'm a time waster too, is get on the one, stay on the one until you can't go any farther. And that way we can get it done. And yesterday morning was a primary case. We've got this Red International. It's a 546 or a 541. And we brought it in this fall. It's been sitting out in front of the shop. Claude's got probably 8-10 hours already of going out and redoing his checks on that tractor outside. Well, I got that tractor inside day before yesterday with the Deutz being down here, the big tractor. It's the only one that could lift the front end off the ground and steer it in and drop it. So when we got to work in the morning, Claude went out into the shop, and I thought he was going to work on that Red International. And next thing I know, I see him out front looking at the Deutz. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he said, well, I'm going to see if I can't get this fixed. I said, no, my son's coming, Robert. And he said he was going to fix that. I'd rather have you stay on that International. And he's like, all right. So he went back out and he started working on it. And I noticed that he was doing the same checks that he already had done umpteen times out front. That's time wasting. The problem is once you start on a job, it takes a while to get into the groove. And where you're checking all the boxes and you're working on things, right? And if you can stay in that groove, you can get quite a bit accomplished. But if I pull you away from that, stick you over here, and then throw you back 2 hours later, you're going to have to get back into the groove of what did I do already on this? And if you can't remember, you start rechecking everything. You see what I'm saying? So I know some guys are going to say, well, it doesn't matter because the shop's getting paid an hourly rate. If he's over there on that for an hour, even if he does the same thing for 3 different times, you still get paid for the 3 hours. I understand that, but I'm not going to bill for those 3 hours because we're doing the same doggone thing. is what I'm getting at. It's even more critical when you get into engines, but that's not happening hardly anymore. The teardowns and rebuilding. You're right in the middle of things. You get into the groove. You're setting the things where you want them. If you get pulled away from that, it's going to take a while to get back into where was I on this project and get back into that. So that's one of the biggest time wasters that I see that happens with Claude and I, even to this day. And it's easy to do because you're thinking, well, if I can get a little bit done. But the way I look at it with the shop is we need paying customers and income, right? If you're working on all three, we're not getting paid because you're not finishing any one of those three that you're working on. Get on to one and finish it. And if you're waiting on parts, that's fine. But go as far as you can go. Keep track of what you've done and what you're doing. And then before you leave that job, have things written down so that you know where you're at before you go to the next one. And it sounds simple, but even the best of us still do that to this day. The other thing is estimates. That's why we incorporated a diagnostic fee. And there's two reasons why I did it. One is to stem the crap coming in here. If people know that they're going to have to pay a $45 diagnostic fee, even if it doesn't get fixed, they're less likely to bring you that stuff that's on the curbside somewhere. The other thing is those guys that bring in boxes of stuff, don't waste your time. If you'd have brought that to me in the first place, we probably could have done something. But you and I both know that it's already going to cost more than it's worth, just the time involved to put everything back together and to see where everything goes. Because we didn't take it apart. You did. I've seen on YouTube channels a couple different instances where they say that there's no sense in doing a compression check and all that when it's part of your diagnostic. Just look at the ballpark of what you think it's going to cost to fix it and then shoot it to the customer. If you feel that it's going to cost more than what the machine is worth, why even do a diagnostic? Why even do a compression check on it? I'm totally against that. If you're going to be a mechanic and you're going to run a shop, do it the right way. And that is the very bare minimum is throw a compression test on it. Because you may look at the deck and figure out what it's going to cost roughly in repairs on the deck, maybe some belts and this and that. But if you never did a compression check and you told the customer, let's say $600 on a $500 machine, what happens if he says, go ahead? And you're running 5 to 6 PSI for compression, you adjusted the valves, and you still can't get it over 30. You're looking at either an engine swap or a teardown, which is going to become more costly than what you quoted that customer. So it doesn't take 5 minutes to do a compression test and then check the valves to see if make sure the compression's there. Do the fire to see if you've got fire coming off the coil. Those two are the bare minimums that you need to be doing. If it's a no run, a no start and stuff like that, I still stick to my 4 points. And each one of those is going to tell me something. People are going to say, well, if you've been at it long enough, you should be able to spot and decide right off the bat if it's a time waster because it's going to cost you more than it's worth and stuff. I understand that, but if you're telling a customer that you're charging them $45 for a diagnostic fee, the bare minimum you better have on that is a compression tester. You better adjust the valves if the compression is really low. You better check the fire, fuel, and air. Those 4 points should always be part of your diagnostic. Don't just jump to the parts that it needs. If the engine's no good, it doesn't matter what parts you change on that deck or where have you. It's still not going to make it runnable. The engine is going to be your most expensive project on that machine. So the idea that, because they're saying that that's a time waster to do that kind of stuff, and no, it's not. If you're not doing that, then you're not a mechanic. You're not doing a good job on equipment. There's no reason not to do the 4-point. There's not. Because if you start with compression, and if you have compression and then you go to fire and you don't have fire, then you're looking at, is the flywheel roughed up? Do you take some emery cloth to it, reset the coil to the clearance that it needs to be from the flywheel, pop the flywheel apart, see if the magnets are still in place. I've seen that where the magnets fall out. There's things that you can do, swap out a coil, and I've amassed a bunch of used coils that are good that we can use to test from. If it works, great, and so forth, I'll go to the customer and I'll say, look, I got a used one right now and it's running good. Did you still want me to order a new one, or do you want that for half? So you're making money on parts too, right? Because that part is something you pulled off a junk machine that was going for the scrap. I'm all about customers' relations, okay? But there can be times where customers want to visit and you're trying to get work done. And there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. Now, if you want the customer to want you to succeed and bring you work, you need to take time with them. You're not wasting time when you're talking with a customer. If something going on with them, you hear me tell you that, yeah, I'll listen. And life can't be all about dollars and cents. Life is about relationships. And if you're focused on just dollars and cents in the shop, you're not developing the right relationships you should with your customer. And that is the customer wanting you to succeed and bringing you everything they have because they trust you. And that trust comes from the dialogue and the relationship that you have with that customer, right? Yes, there are some that come in, they just want to visit. We got old timers back when we had the smaller shop, and we used to have coffee on. They'd come in every morning, they'd visit, and that's a time waster. A lot of times we just left them with the coffee and went and did our work. Pick up and drop off. That can be a time waster if you're not charging a fair price. If you're just charging what it costs just to cover the gas, you're screwing yourself. Yes, it's bringing work into the shop, but at what cost? If there was something else at the shop that could have been being done, and both of us are in the truck going to pick up something else, we're going backwards. So how do you solve that? You make sure that the trucking is up there so that it covers not only the fuel, also covers the up care of that truck, so much per mile. And then also you have hourly rates. And most of the time the two of us go together because it takes two of us a lot of times to get pieces of equipment onto the trailer, even with the winch. So, and it's safer with the two of us. I only charge one hourly rate, and that I'm paying Claude. So I charge one hourly rate depending on how far it is from the shop, and so much a mile, and then what I figure it costs for fuel. I try to have it above what it costs if they want to go to Tractor Supply and rent one of their trailers to bring the lawnmower and stuff like that. If you have it above that, you're not saying you're not willing to do it. It's just that we will, but it's going to cost you more than if you just brought it here yourself. If you can limit how much time you're away from the shop, you're going to make more money. The money is in the shop. As long as you have work there, then there's why are you leaving the shop to go get more work, I guess. And there's some of you guys that don't do pickup and drop off that and stay busy. And that's the best all around thing to making money. If you're not being interrupted and you're not leaving the property to go grab more stuff, then you're farther ahead than most people. In the comments, what are things that you think are time wasters? You know, when I'm doing a diagnostic, I'm doing my 4 points. And then I pretty much know what it's going to cost to fix X, Y, and Z, depending on what everything is telling me. If I can't get compression from adjusting the valves and stuff like that, stop. Stop. There's no sense in going any farther because this is going to be the clincher. A lot of times that engine is more than what the customer is willing to put into that machine. To go further and do a bunch of other stuff to it and detailed estimate on the parts for the deck and this and that is crapola. It's all of a moot. It's why. That's the biggest time waster that I see. And then the other is not staying on one job until it's finished. The other thing that I would include there is parts. Keep the most common parts in stock. Jason, I have the totes that have the compartments. And like one is just for fuel systems, primer bulbs, extra carburetors, gaskets, fuel line, all that is in that. So if I need something fuel related, I can just reach for that compartment thing that has the plastic handle that comes up. You can see everything in there. And I carry 4 or 5 of all the different primer bulbs and carburetors. I have a limited supply of those. I have a lot of gaskets in there and short pieces of fuel line, the different ones that go to the tank, fuel filters in there, but it's all right there. And then, for your fast moving parts, the stuff that you sell a lot of. And for us, if we have a customer that buys a set of blades off me, I'll bring in 2 sets. And that way I know that it's a common blade and that one of my customers is probably going to need it down the road. So I order in an extra set. If you don't have the extra money to play with or you don't have the space, you can't do that. I don't stock a gazillion air filters. I got 5 at the top. I've got probably 75, 80 air filters and they're hanging on the wall. But most of them are now new old stock. They're no longer being used. So you have to be really careful when it comes to inventory and things and then sitting and then having it go past its time. I guess you could say. Just look at the way you're doing things at your shop. What ways can you do that could make it faster, easier, and better? On that note, you guys have a great Saturday. But in the comments, what do you think about today's episode? I mean, I know I waste a lot of time in spots where I'm trying to get it where I'm a little better at it. Enjoy your Saturday.